guys, hope everybody's having a good week. This is Derek from Equinox Project Studio and the Pro Audio Files. I'm going to talk to you guys today about snare drum processing, but we're going to focus on some different things. Usually you see a lot of videos on YouTube about compression or EQ, but today we're actually going to talk about applying harmonics to the snare drum. And I'm going to show you how that can really open up the sound of your drum in the mix. So let's go ahead and jump right into Pro Tools. Alright guys, so again we're going to take a look at how adding harmonics can really bring out your snare in the mix. So I'll just dive right in and just show you how it kind of sounds in a breakdowny section of this track I'm working on right now. So here it is. Okay, so one of the things I tried to really get out of it was that top end brightness and kind of the sound of the wires, the snare wires in there, which come through really nicely when you add some harmonics to the top end. And then I also kind of wanted to accentuate the body of the snare and make it a little more full. And I did most of that with harmonics. So what I'll do next is I'll just solo the drum group and I'll let you listen again with the harmonics on and then with them off so you can hear exactly what it's doing. So here's again with them on. Okay, that's on and I'll bypass them, and it was adding some additional gain or volume, about 5 dB, so I'll go ahead and throw 5 dB on there to compensate. So to me, it just wasn't as full and it wasn't as crisp on the top end either. And I just feel like harmonics is one of the best ways you can really just polish the snare off, and in this case it really almost turned it into a completely different sounding instrument. So what I'll do is I'll just put a new instantiation of the saturation plugin I'm using, which is the BX Saturator. Obviously you can do this with any number of other plugins, but this is what I use, and I'll show you kind of my workflow when I go through and do this. So I'll just set a loop region here and we'll go through and apply harmonics. And the way this plugin works is it has a crossover frequency, and then you can go and apply harmonic content both below excuse me, and above the crossover point. So we'll go ahead and start and try and kind of search for the sweet spots when we're playing back this track and find a good spot to start adding harmonic content. And actually, in this case, I will just solo the snare by itself here. Okay, I like that frequency down there. And fortunately enough, I like the one above it as well. Okay, so those are two good starting points to work with that we found right off the bat. And something I like to do in the lower frequency that I'm saturating, I like to get it to clip actually, which really makes it more aggressive and gritty and actually adds to kind of the attack and helps it just really cut through in a dense mix with heavily distorted guitars and a lot of mid-range content. So let's go ahead and get that clipping a little bit. I'll just leave that. So that's clipping pretty good now, which isn't going to sound like a bad thing at all in context with the mix, as you guys will see. Let's check out the high-end frequency and make sure those wires are coming through. All right, let's throw on the entire drum group again here. Something else you'll notice is that you also have gain for these individual frequencies, and I wanted a little more body out of this, so we'll just go ahead and boost that a little bit. And of course, the master gain fader, or pot rather, that I'm using down here to just control the overall volume. Output volume of the plugin. Okay, so that's I'm feeling like a good starting point. Let's go ahead and play back the section with the full mix going and see how it sounds. Sounds cool. And you can hear that there's a lot more of that top end. The wires are coming through with a lot of nice smack. And it's also got that gritty mid-range in there too that kind of added to the body and helps it sound a little bit bigger in the mix. So those are just a couple of the things that you can do with a saturation plugin on a snare drum. And that's one of my favorite places to use it. So definitely something I advise you guys look into trying out. So you guys can hear some of the benefits that adding harmonics to your snare drum brings to the mix. Gives you a lot more top end, makes it nice and crisp, and also gives you a lot of nice body and warmth in there too that helps it kind of stand out in the mix, especially a dense mix. So harmonics are something I definitely advise you guys play around with. Start messing around with it on your snare, see if you like it. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Please stop by my website at www.equinox-ps.com and be sure to subscribe to the Pro Audio Files. Thanks again for watching, guys. Hope to see you again soon.